Good day, I'm Sanhaji Lotz, and today I'm sitting here talking to Mr. Ayanda Mdluli, who is the content editor of Business and Investigations for Independent Media. Ayanda, how are you?
Hi Sanhaji, I'm fine, thanks, and thank you for having me.
So now, as we know, Dr. Matjila has been on the stand now at the PIC Commission of Inquiry for about 3 weeks. What are the key things that have stood out for you?
Look, I mean, obviously Dr. Dan Matjila has been testifying at the PIC Commission of Inquiry into impropriety at the asset manager. But for me, what stood out, is the James Nogu email saga.
Yes.
Obviously, towards the end of last year and earlier this year, there's a whistleblower who went by the alias James Nogu, who implicated a wide range of executives at the Public Investment Corporation, which include Mondli Gungubele, who's the former Deputy Finance Minister and the former chairman of the PIC. He implicated Dan Matjila. He implicated the likes of Sibusisiwe Zulu, who's married, but who's also married to a man named Lawrence Mlauzi. They're in a relationship. Okay, look, for me, rather, what's been transpiring at the PIC Commission is Dr. Dan Matjila's inference that, look, James Nogu is actually not a whistleblower, but it's someone in the PIC who's trying to push a particular agenda. With him saying that he's tried to protect the PIC from, improprieties and state capture, it's very, very telling when he reveals that, certain individuals have been, put in the PIC board. Meanwhile, they're also doing business with the PIC, of which I think there's a very, very glaring conflicts of interest.
And that there's an obvious connection between these two scenarios, that they are intrinsically connected, and as you're saying, that Dr. Matjila was doing everything in his power to prevent that.
When we talk about Matjila, protecting the PIC from state capture, when you look at what has happened, especially with the VBS Mutual Bank saga, right? Yes. One of the one of the executives from the PIC, the head of risk and compliance, Paul Magula, was the PIC representative in VBS Mutual Bank, and he basically, Dan Matjila says that Paul Magula failed to protect the PIC's investments in VBS Mutual Bank.
Okay. So let's talk about AO for a moment. Now, Dr. Matjila did go into detail of how the AO transaction is above board. Can you tell us more about this?
To provide a certain narrative when it comes to the whole AO transaction. But, I mean, if you look at Dan Matjila's revelations at the PIC Commission of Inquiry, he's gone on to say that, look, I mean, they found that the valuation of the subscription of AO, was above board, and he's gone into detail on on the due diligence processes that were followed. Meanwhile, the allegation out there is that the PIC didn't follow due process. But now, if you look at Dan Matjila's statements and if you read it point by point on the AO transaction, it goes into detail on all the processes that were followed, and it actually shows that the reason why the deal was fast-tracked, it was because of the JSE, which gave the PIC a very, very tight deadline to ensure that they reach the dates that had been stipulated.